part one of this coffee bar closet makeover. I built the cabinet boxes out of plywood and the base out of 2x4s, then dry fit and installed them into my builder grade closet, and this week I'm finishing everything up. I'll be adding a tile countertop, a Zalish tile backsplash, making cabinet doors to create a little cupboard, installing the tile, installing a brass pot rail, and the fun part of styling the coffee bar and stocking the fridge and everything in between. Hello friends, how are you? My name is Corbin Reed and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am bringing you a custom closet / coffee nook makeover that I completed in my office out of a builder grade closet. I'm gonna show you how I took this from a boring builder grade closet to this awesome custom coffee nook / closet space for our coats and our shoes. Since we don't have a front hallway closet, this was the perfect solution since this is the only room on the first floor. I built this from scratch with plywood. I did some really cool DIYs. I got some Zalish tile in here. I've got a mini fridge in here. I've got some lighting in here. It's all kinds of really cool stuff. So if you want to see how I accomplished this and steal some of my ideas to use in your own home, then just keep on watching. So if you haven't seen part one of this, please do go back and watch. I demoed the closet and showed you how this actually goes up 8 feet all the way to the top of the ceiling. So I figured I would optimize that storage space by installing a rod above the custom closet, so that way I can put any overflow jackets up there when I am not using them. And I did build the closet a bit shallower so that I can still access that space up there. So as I mentioned before, last week I did just dry fit everything. So this week I am actually going in and screwing the base into the studs and everything else into the studs. Now I did have to be careful. I had the pipes marked and everything, so I knew what not to screw. And for one of my cabinet boxes, I had to cut out a special square using my jigsaw here because this is where the outlet is going to go. So I basically just built the box and then dry fit, marked where I needed this hole to be to go around the outlet where I can plug in the mini fridge and any other electricity like tea kettles or whatever that I needed, and cut it out. Now this is the light fixture. I'm just showing you that it gets plugged in here, and that is where it is going to go in the context of the closet. For stain, I use Special Walnut by Varathane and Mini Wax Pre-Stain. This just conditions the wood. And then I just rubbed everything on with a microfiber towel. And I did stain almost everything before I installed it just because the smell is pretty intense. So you haven't really seen these corner pieces, but this is where I'm making mini cubbies that I can use to store anything really, but my idea initially was shoes, but it can be to organize anything I want. So everything has been stained on the inside. I am not staining the outsides because you're not going to see those. I did stain the tops because those I will be able to see, and I wanted everything to be uniform, but I am now just installing everything to the studs. Again, I had already marked the studs in the wall and marked where the pipes were, so I'm screwing the cabinets into the base of the closet, and I'm also screwing them in to the studs on the wall, making sure not to hit anything scary behind the wall, because there's a bathroom on the other side of this. To trim out the cabinets, I just used a combination at the bottom here of plywood and then 1x2s I used poplar. It's the least noisy wood in my opinion. So I just took everything into the garage and stained it the same color. And at the baseboards I did miter those angles so that's a smooth transition when the boards meet up. And I was just making sure these 1x2s fit, and they do, and those will just get brad nailed in the same way as the baseboard. For the lighting, I basically just installed it the same way I would on the wall with the bracket, and strung the cord through the back, and then plugged it in on the side there where I showed you earlier. And I did install this before I tiled so that I could tile around it instead of installing it on top of the tile. It's pretty simple.
All right, so things are coming along very nicely here. I have not shown every single little thing. Like I didn't show the framing of the shelves, of the bookcases, but the closet, but I literally just brad nailed 1x2x6s onto here and cut them all down to size. You can see I installed the beverage fridge. I'll get more into detail on that later. I also put in the shelves here, all of this stuff, and the light, which I did show you a little bit of, but everything is framed out and installed and ready for stain. I go more in depth on framing and all that stuff in my built-ins video. If you're looking for a more in-depth tutorial, go watch that. But this is more of just like a broad makeover, closet makeover video for you guys. So if you're interested in that, I'll be sure to link that down below and above. But next up, I wanted to show you this before I get into the tiling. I picked up these gorgeous Zalige Moroccan tiles off of Facebook Marketplace, of course, for $25 for the box. It was like a partial box. And the really cool thing about these is they have like variation in color and shape, and they're handmade tiles from Morocco. They're very expensive if you buy them and have them shipped, but I got them from someone in Long Beach that had like leftover tiles from a renovation. So I'm going to be putting these up along the backsplash here, and basically just tiling it like you would anything. So I'll be using thin set and grout, and then on the bottom here where there's wood, I have a large 24x36 tile that I'm going to cut down with my wet tile saw, and probably my wet saw, to use as a countertop. And I may also put it up here as well, because my plan, like so that it's like on the roof, my plan is to have like a tea kettle here, an electric tea kettle, so I can like make tea or to pour over coffee. And if the steam is rising, I want to make sure that it doesn't damage the wood. Of course, I'm going to poly this, but if I leave it raw, but still, like I just think it would be nice to have the tile up there as well. And then this was installed. I did kind of show it going in. The wire's just running down to the back and to this outlet here. It was just a plug-in leftover, honestly, a leftover picture light that I had. And I got this off of Amazon, and I'm able to control it like that. So this will probably go on the wall next to the closet here. And then once I'm done with the tiling, all I have to do is stain the rest of the trim wood fill, and then I'm going to be putting a curtain up above this so that I can close this off if I don't want to see it. I'll probably always leave this part open with the beverage fridge and the coffee bar, but like there will be on inside here, there's going to be like shoes and stuff, and over here are going to be coats and things like that.
So those are just the brackets for the closet rod install. This is pretty straightforward. I just measured, used a level, and cut the rod down to size that I got from Home Depot, and then installed it into the closet. So to cut the tile, the large format tile that's going to serve as the countertop, the porcelain, this is again I think 24 by 12. I just used my track saw, basically, jig, and my wet saw, and created this countertop out of a tile, which is pretty genius. People talk about how they can't cut their own countertops, which I think is kind of silly. If you get a wet saw, you can cut your own countertop. It's literally not hard at all. And then also I'm just using some liquid nails to adhere it and letting it sit with a weight on top of it so that it's on there. And now I'm just marking the cuts I need to make on the Zalige tile around the outlet. And instead of using a wet saw, I'm using my I guess this is a wet tile saw, and the blade is pretty dull. It's like a diamond blade, so it's not like a blade you'd use to cut wood. You do have to soak the tiles. That was kind of a quick shot, but you have to soak them in a bucket. That's what I was showing you, so that the air gets out of them, so that they'll actually adhere to the surface they're going on. And it's a little hard to see here, but I am back buttering tiles with thinset and then just adhering them to the wall. I'm not using spacers or anything because these are handmade, and I don't mind the slight imperfections. You do need to make sure you let all of this dry after you thinset for, I think it's like 48 hours before you grout. So that's my plan, is to let this dry. I did go ahead and cut another tile to put on the roof there. I figured it covers up those holes, and also just makes for a more kind of like moisture-proof, waterproof area for a tea kettle and that sort of thing. So I created this weird jig out of wood to create pressure to hold the tile in place on the roof.
All right, so things are really shaping up behind me. As you may or may not be able to tell, the tile's in, it's dried overnight. I'm gonna wait another couple of hours before I grout. And in the meantime, I'm gonna build some shaker doors to turn this into a little cabinet. Also, I added a little bit of trim to the top just to round the edges so it's not so sharp. But I have some leftover poplar wood from a different project, which is really good wood for cabinet building. It's painter grade wood. This is really all I need to get 2 small shaker doors inside of this little hole here. So I'm gonna go down to the garage, rip those down, and then really the last thing for me to do is to wood fill and sand and stain everything, and grout. And then I'm done, you guys, and then style it. So let's go make some cabinet doors. All right, so I have what I need here to grout. I just got a pre-mixed grout. It sounds like you just add water. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't really know but it sounds like you add water and then mix it to the consistency that you need. We'll get there. Then a grout float, basically just gonna go boom, boom. Then you wipe, and that's really it, you guys. Gonna grout this tile. That literally took like 10 minutes, maybe 15, and I'm already done. So just gonna take everything off. And yeah, that's it, you guys. That is the gist. I have a brass pot hanging rail that's like 10 inches. It'll probably like go from here to here. That'll be just for like hanging coffee mugs and stuff, but it's coming from Morocco. I got it on Etsy, so it's gonna take a while to get here, but that'll be the last piece. And then staining this, and I'm making the doors right now.
So I just ripped down the poplar wood on my table saw to create the rails and the stiles for the doors that are the width of the cabinet box, like the inset width, because I'm doing inset doors.
Okay, so I am going to do things a little bit differently this time with the doors. I usually use pocket hole screws, but this time I'm just going to use wood glue. I have the doors laid out here on the table, and I'm literally just going to put some wood glue on the joints here, just like this. Spread it, and then I will come back in with my router, and I will router a groove into the back, and I'll show you what that looks like.
I started out using the router freehand and it was looking wonky, so I ended up using a little guide out of a 2x4 to make it more straight.
Okay, you guys, so the backsplash is grouted. Basically like night and day, really. Everything's more level. I added this rounded edge trim to the top and the bottom, but most excitingly, I added these doors. So if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to add inset cabinets to, inset cabinet doors to cabinetry, I will leave some of my favorites linked down below for how I learned. It's always a struggle. It's like one of the hardest kind of cabinet doors to install. So I'll leave my teachers down below for you, but I think they make a huge difference. I just wanted to pop on here. I'll probably be keeping like cups up here and like any little things that I want to hide, cutting boards, whatever that I'm going to be using to make drinks down here. I'll hide in here, which is such a fun detail. And of course, they have the soft close hinges, which is also so fun. So the last three things I'm gonna be doing. I have these beautiful brass knobs that I got off of Etsy. I'm gonna be adding them, I believe, to the middle here. I don't know, I have to decide. Middle or low? What do you guys think? Low, middle? I don't know, I'll figure it out. But so I'll be adding those, and then I got these curtains. You can just slide back and forth. I'll probably always kind of keep this revealed, but it'll just be a really nice, warm element to add, and I'm excited about it. So the last thing I'm thinking about is, do I have the energy to add wallpaper up here? I don't know. If not, I am going to paint it a warm white that I have in the garage. But This is the wallpaper I have left over from my bathroom makeover. You can kind of, it looks like a, tweed is not the right word, but if you want to see it on the walls, I'll leave it linked above for my office bathroom makeover. It's all over the walls. It has a really nice warm function to the bathroom, but I should have put it in before I put this cabinetry in. And at this point, I just don't know if I can be like reaching up in there to do wallpaper. So at the very least, I might paint it. If I don't paint it, I'm just gonna let the coats and stuff that are gonna be hung up top there cover it up. So enough talking. I'm gonna put these knobs in, and then if I still have energy today, I will hang the curtains. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow to finish this thing up.
So as it turns out, I did end up wallpapering. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I really did take this project in stages, which I think is key when you're doing a project like this. I ended up being able to complete this pretty quickly, and getting up in the closet was really not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And it adds just a really nice clean wall in the back there for when you do have to kind of look at that open space, because it was really ratty. And this just adds like a cool, fun, custom pop.
All right, so as you can see, I was really like up in there. But it looks so much better. It's kind of hard to tell on camera. I'll get a little closer, but if this is ever open now, I'm not gonna see like marked up walls, and I'm just anal retentive at this point. I don't want it to look like a DIY, I want it to look nice. So the only other thing I'm gonna do is just paint the inside sides. There's a bunch of pencil marks and dirt marks and scuffs from the cheap paint. So I'm just gonna paint the inside sides, and I will truly be done, because I've already polyacryliced all of this, and it's in a really good place. So I'll show you the inside of the closet.
So as you can see, I added trim pieces to the back there to close up the gaps. I caulked everything. I really took the time to do those little details, like, because if stuff's gonna go up there, I don't want anything falling in the cracks. But the last piece of this is just these scuff marks on the wall. They look awful, and I put so much time into this, so I had to paint over that. Here I am just adding the curtains. I did not go with the orange. They were too distracting. These are just some curtains I picked up from IKEA, and I'm just steam training them. I just take a steamer and steam in the creases, and then tape them with some painter's tape, which essentially just trains the creases to stay. This is the pot rail that I picked up off of Etsy from the seller in Morocco. It is unlacquered brass, which means it will age super well and patina super well. And this is the set of like hooks that came with it that are also unlacquered brass, which is a really beautiful compliment. So I'm just marking with a marker where the holes need to go. And then I had to use a ceramic drill bit to drill into the tiles. You do want to wait several days. I think I was able to wait like a week before I did this to make sure everything was dry, so you're not moving tiles around. And then this is an anchor that is going to go into the hole that I drill. I'll have to hammer that in very gently. I actually use a mallet, a rubber mallet, so that I don't mess up the tile, but just kind of slowly hammer that in, and then the screw will go into that. This was a little bit scary because I was afraid I was going to crack the tile, but Zalige is very forgiving, and I did use water just to kind of soften everything as I was doing this. And this is the final product. I love how this came out. I love the warmth of the stain color. The mini fridge is amazing. The brass pot rail is gorgeous. Really everything came out exactly as I imagined. This little cubby above the coffee bar is amazing. The wallpaper looks great. The paint looks great. And this little on-off feature works perfectly. There is some sort of like leftover dust, brown dust from the ceramic tiles, so ignore that. And I did install some rechargeable lights that are just like up there with Velcro, that are motion sensor activated if you want them to be, and just add extra lighting in the closet without needing to do wires or anything.
So I want to share with you this teapot, this electric tea kettle that I got from Walmart. This is a part of the line from Drew Barrymore's line. So because I have this electric installed in here, I can just go ahead and plug this in, and this can live in the corner here, which is great. And it's nice because it kind of covers up the outlet. So next up, I got these really beautiful mugs that I thrifted from the Rose Bowl flea market. These are just gonna live on these brass hooks here, which this is a bar that I got off of Etsy from a seller in Morocco. It took like 2 months to get here, but it was well worth it for the price and the value. Right here on these little hooks, just like that. And then to further cover this little outlet out up here, I'm just gonna pop this cutting board on here for like lemons and stuff like that. Just sliding it on the hook. Just gonna hide it back there for layering. Lastly, I have these really pretty waffle knit little towels. I'm just gonna put this back here for if there are spills or anything. Cover up the outlet. Okay, in terms of practical things that I'm going to use for making drinks that I'm going to put in this cupboard, I have this beautiful little coffee jar, which I will put coffee in. It's just not in there right now. Tin, which I have some teas and things in here, so that'll live in there. I've got this vintage tray, like a wine opener or a coffee spoon on here that can just have a place to live, like a silverware tray. I love this gadget for making lattes. It's just a milk frother, but it has 4 different settings that you can use to make different kinds of coffee. You just plug it in, which I can do, so this will also live inside of this cabinet. I have a French press to also make coffee if I'd like. I have these 2 really cute jars, which I'm just keeping one for cocoa and a little spoon in here. So we'll keep these inside of the cabinet as well. For this mini fridge down here, I'm just keeping like this little jar full of almond milk and some creamer, which has this really nice pop top. This is from OXO. I'll be sure to link these for you in case you're interested. And then eventually I will fill this up with beverages and water and all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already following me here on YouTube so you do not miss any of my upcoming videos, DIYs, room makeovers, home decor hauls, you know, any of that stuff. I have so much more coming your way as usual, so be sure to subscribe. Also be sure to follow me over on Instagram at storydesign_with_Corbin Reed. I oftentimes post my DIYs and room makeovers and all that stuff, like more minute updates in the stories and sometimes even the reels. Like I'll share the progress bit by bit just because it's easier for me to edit and faster. So be sure to follow me over there so you don't miss things if you don't want to wait. And yeah, everything you see in today's video that I can link, hardware, you know, things like that, I will link down below, tools in the description box. And thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.